Hey friends, Diana here from Garden Love. I have a question for you. Have you planted a tree in your home and now you're moving and you wish you could take it home with you? Or maybe a family member has the most amazing tasting tree that you wish you can have a piece of it or bring it home with you because they're moving and you're trying to figure out a way how to preserve the tree, how to get a little piece of that tree so you can continue to grow it at home or just in a pot or in the ground. Well, here's a story time for you because this white grapefruit actually was transplanted from someone's home into a pot for a couple years, and then when I moved here I decided to put it in the ground. I am going to show you step by step on how we did that and kept it alive. And now I don't know if you guys can see, let me move you a little bit. Let me show you, there's fruit. I've been harvesting fruit. I'm gonna take this from you, little tree. Thank you very much. I've been harvesting fruit this whole entire year and last year, and I love this fruit. It has seeds, which is okay. It's so sweet. I love this. I don't even know if I can purchase this white grapefruit in any nursery because I think this grapefruit must have been planted in the house that I dug it up from. My husband dug it up from like 5 years ago. Probably was already there another 5 to 6, 7 years. So this year, this tree is actually maybe like 12 years old, and you know, things start to change as nurseries start producing new varieties, and I don't think I will find this anywhere. I planted a few other grapefruits, and actually one that's Oro Blanco that might be as close as this. Once I start getting fruit from that, I'm going to compare it. But I feel that I got a little gold mine here with this tree. Eventually, I'm probably going to air layer a piece of this and start a new tree. I'm going to take some of these limbs to maybe graft it to another grapefruit. I don't know. But today we're going to focus on how to transplant the tree from a location to another location into a pot or into the ground so you can continue to enjoy the amazing fruit that you're used to having. And sometimes some trees can be sentimental, and I totally get that. Maybe it's your grandmother's tree that she passed away, or maybe they're selling her house and there's a tree that she planted. There's many reasons why you might want to take a tree with you. And I'm so excited that I actually found all the clips of when this happened, and I'm going to share them with you and walk you step by step on how we got this done. So come on, let's go ahead and get it going. I understand that there's multiple reasons why somebody might want to take a tree with them, transplant them, or up pot them. Every situation is different. Some people might have plenty of time in advance to prepare the tree, and others might not. Here are a few things to consider if you have the time. You're going to want to give it deep, and I mean deep watering 2 to 3 days before you do the transplant. You're also going to want to inspect the tree for any disease or pest damage. If there's any, remove it, throw it in the trash, get rid of it, keep it away from the tree days in advance. As you can see here, this tree was very well established. It was planted in a very narrow space, so I couldn't take a good amount of roots. So we did our best. Ideally, you're going to want to take anywhere from 2 to 3 feet away from the trunk so you can take as many roots as you can with you. The more roots you can take with you, the better. We also want to consider the timing that you're going to do the transplant and the climate. Obviously, if you have a choice, getting your tree transplant late fall or the beginning of spring would be ideal because obviously the weather is better for it. You're going to want your tree to focus on the root growing and not on the leaf growing, and usually that happens during fall and winter. You're going to have a choice whether you want to plant it in a pot, which is what I did because I wasn't ready to put it in the ground, nor did I have the space at the time, or if you're going to put it in the ground. There's pros and cons for both. Really quick before I go into the pros and cons, I want us to focus on something. As you can see here, we are basically cutting the tree in half, and let me tell you why. If you were able to see how much roots we were able to take, you saw that not many roots came with us. In fact, the crown of the roots was maybe about 2 feet wide. And for the size of this tree, it just would not be enough to sustain this tree's leaves. And therefore, we had to cut the tree shorter, cut some branches off, and take the fruit away because the roots can only sustain so much. It would just not be fair for us to ask of this tree with that little roots to sustain this whole entire tree. Imagine a little Honda Civic engine on a Tahoe. It just wouldn't work. It's just too much. That's why it's so important for you to take as many roots as possible. And depending on how many roots you take, you're going to get an idea of how much this tree can be sustained. This tree was way too big for these roots. And also I didn't have control of how much watering this tree was getting right before we removed it from its home. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to dip it in this trash can full of water in order for it to get hydrated before I plant it. I'm going to leave it here overnight. It will be just fine. You want to make sure that those roots are very moist, especially for a tree this size. The warmer it is, the more thirsty this tree is going to get, and that's why we mentioned earlier that the timing is crucial. And if you can do it before summer or right at the end of fall, that would be ideal. Don't be afraid to remove a lot of leaves. You can leave the branches, but you want to remove as many leaves as possible. You do want to leave it with some, but you want to remove leaves in order for the tree to not stress out and having to sustain these leaves. So now you're probably wondering whether you're going to put it in a container or you're going to put it in the ground. Here are a few things to consider. For a citrus, it needs anywhere from 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. However, when you are doing the transplant, it's going to want shade at least for the first month. They love to have moist soil, and you're going to want that soil to be moist in order for those roots to have full contact with it so they can start establishing and growing new roots. Watering on a daily basis, if it's warm, it's going to be a must, whether it's in the ground or in a container. One thing to consider that if you put it in the ground, you're not going to have control over how much shade you can provide for your tree unless you give it an umbrella or a cover for the first month. However, if you grow it, put it in a container, you will be able to put it in a location where it gets light but not direct light, and it'll still have shade. They love well draining soil if you're going to put it in a container. So make sure that you have your soil ready, your pot ready. You drilled enough holes at the bottom of the container in order for the water to drain well. Let's talk about the do's and don'ts about planting your tree. You definitely don't want to plant your tree too deep. You want to make sure that the top or the beginning of the roots are a little exposed, the crown of the roots are a little exposed. You don't want to bury it because otherwise you're going to get trunk rot, and that goes whether you put it in the ground or you put it in a container. Do not fertilize it because you want the tree to focus on the roots getting established, not growing new leaves. Use something like Shirt Star or this product that I'm using here. I'll try to put a picture here for you to help promote new roots. This tree is going to go through shock. Don't be surprised if all the leaves fall off. That's completely normal. And that is why having shade for it is so important, because you don't want the trunks or the branches to get sunburned. You can add worm castings, like rubber castings. That doesn't affect anything. It would just help the soil stay a little bit more moist. You want to make sure that you compact the soil so there's no air pockets. That's why watering is so important for the next following days. One thing that I noticed since this tree was mature is that it was very top heavy. So what I did is I obviously added the soil and I added mulch, which is very important because you want to keep the top layer moist. And I also added some rocks because I wanted something weighing down those roots with the soil so they can have full contact and they can actually start growing and thriving. So just consider that, have that ready. Let's recap really quick. If you're going to transplant your tree, make sure that you give it deep watering before you extract it. Make sure that you have the pot ready to go with well-draining holes. If you're going to put it in the ground, make sure that you already have the hole ready to go, 2 times bigger than the root ball. You're going to want to show up with a shovel, a tarp, a saw, and clippers. Try to take as many roots as possible with you. If you have to cut the tree in half, go ahead and do so. Remove any branches that have disease or pests, and gently wrap the root in the tarp so you can take it home with you. As you were able to see, this container had really big draining holes, and I just encourage you to do the same. This tree was in this container for about a year. It didn't grow much, but when I transplanted it, I did notice that the root had gotten really well established, and that is why it did so well once we put it in the ground. Here's what's left of the trunk that we cut down. As you can see here, the tree besides that trunk, it is thriving. It's full of flowers. It's been giving me fruit for the last 2.5 years. It's been in the ground for almost 4 years. And now something that I started as an experiment, it is such a blessing because my daughters and I love this fruit. I feel like I have a little treasure, and I feel like I have something that maybe we don't have access to anymore. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you've done this before, let me know. I would love to hear your story. If you're thinking about it, let me know if you have any questions that maybe you didn't gather from this video. There is another method on how to take a clone of a tree, and that is by air layering, and I'm going to make a completely separate video on that because there's also a lot of information to give you and consider for that. Now that we've gone through the whole video, I want to go ahead and peel this grapefruit with you so you guys can see what this grapefruit looks like, I mean, you can't taste it, but you know, so you guys can get an idea of what kind of grapefruit this is. Look at that. This is not as thick as most white grapefruits. I don't know if you guys can see that. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that it was very informative, maybe inspiring, maybe it gave you some hope for some of those trees that you guys were thinking about, or you guys were so sad about leaving behind. Oh my God, look at that. Do you guys see that? Okay, so this does have a lot of seeds. I don't know if you can see the seed, but smells amazing. It's so juicy. Look at that. Sorry for all the noise of me eating it, but this fruit is so tasty. I love it. Just wanted to give you guys a sneak peek of what the fruit looks like. Super juicy. It's not sour at all. It's sweet. I don't even taste any trace of sourness. It's like a mild sweet orange. Yeah, this is what it looked like. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I can't wait to see you guys in the comments, and see you in the next one. You guys have a blessed day.